Because remember, so when you say, raise your hand to talk to share, all the hands are going to go up, right? And you can't call on all the kids because we're going to be there all day listening. And then one kid's going to tell their, 5-minute long story, and then everyone's going to start getting restless, right? It's just not useful of instructional time. So we really kind of want to have a few options to let students express themselves while also managing our time wisely. I'm Catherine Barker, and today's video is all about how to handle the interrupting student or interrupting students. Okay, so being interrupted in kindergarten is something that should honestly be expected, right? Because we just have our young kiddos are still just learning their self-control. They're just absorbing so much information. They're just like little sponges, right? They're just soaking it all up and they're so excited. They're able to communicate it now, and they just kind of want to tell you anything and everything. And it's not a bad thing to be vocal and to be talking and wanting to share. We just want to remember, first things first, to be really patient with them, right? I know it's so hard. It can be so frustrating when it's like over and over again and they're interrupting, but we have to remember, okay, they're still learning their self-control. It's just our job to teach them that self-control and then gentle reminders of it. I always felt like I would be interrupted during whole group time or during like story time. And it would go something like this. So maybe I'm reading a story like Mother Bruce or something, it's about a bear. And a student would just kind of randomly just blurt out like, my uncle's birthday is this weekend. And then another student's like, my brother's birthday's coming up. And then they all start talking about birthdays, and I got a Lego for my birthday party, and they just all kind of start going and spouting off because it's like a little domino effect, right? And this made them think of this. It's like if you give a mouse a cookie. And so fun fact, this is kind of like a real story of what happened in my classroom, where we was reading a story about a bear, and we're all of a sudden talking about birthdays. So first you're going to remind students of the rules, right? So I love to have my students have those rules memorized. And so all I would say is, oh, boys and girls, rule number 1. And they would say, oh, raise your hand to talk, right? So they would remember, oh, that's right, I need to raise my hand. So then all the hands are gonna go up, right? Because they all wanna share the story. I also had a really bad habit of letting my students kind of just blurt out and talk, and I would just listen, and I'd be like, okay, yeah. And then another student would talk, and another student would talk. And it wasn't fair to the students that were raising their hands, because the students that would blurt out would be the ones that would get a response from me. So I had to stop and go, oh, okay, I need to stop rewarding those students by listening to them and only listen to students that are raising their hands, right? So we want to check and make sure, oh, am I unknowingly reinforcing the interrupting and the blurting out? You can also do, if you find that your class is just really, really interrupting, you can just do kind of a quick lesson on interrupting. There's some really cool YouTube videos. I think Wonder Grove has a few of them. A really good book is My Mouth is a Volcano. I think Interrupting Chicken is another one that's really good. So you can also kind of start with a story, talk about it, and explain that we're using self-control and we're raising our hand to talk. If you also are finding that your students are not only interrupting, but they also can be super loud, and you feel the volume goes up and you're constantly bringing it down, I have a great video for you to check out after this. It's all about how to manage and handle your class when it gets super, super loud. Another technique that I really, really love to use is kind of redirect that interrupting or chattiness when they really want to share their stories. So they're really kind of two options, because remember, so when you say, raise your hand to talk to share, all the hands are going to go up, right? And you can't call on all the kids because we're going to be there all day listening. And then one kid's going to tell their, 5-minute long story, and then everyone's going to start getting restless, right? It's just not useful of instructional time. So we really kind of want to have a few options to let students express themselves while also managing our time wisely. So the first option is having, say, a shoulder partner that if, say, you do think, pair, share. You could do this during story time where, okay, say they're all talking about birthdays now, right? Because that's the topic. You can say, okay, let's think of a birthday, maybe your birthday or somebody else's birthday, and something that you saw at the birthday party or something that happened and was fun that you liked and turned to your shoulder partner and share. Quick 30 seconds, they can get out their little story and share it to their friend, and then you, okay, now we're moving on. We're going to talk about, we're going to keep reading our story, right? So you can do like a quick, let's pause and let's just get it out and get the stories out. And now we're going to go back to this. So your second option is, so say they've already shared with their friend, and still they want to tell you their story, right? Because sometimes they just want to tell the teacher the story. I would tell my kids, okay, oh gosh, I can tell that you really, really have some wonderful stories to tell me, and I want to hear them so bad, but right now I can't really hear all of them. So why don't we take our story that we want to share, take it out of our brains, put it in your pocket and hold it there. And when we can take it out when we go to our small group time, or at recess time, you can come up and tell me. So I'd say, oh, make sure you have it and put it in your pocket, and then hold it there, and then we can talk about this later. So this does a couple things for students. For one, it just validates them, right? It feels like, okay, what I have to say is important and my teacher cares about it, but right now is not the space for it. So we're gonna get to it later, right? Because we don't want them to feel like, stop talking, it's not important, this is off topic. That's not helpful or encouraging for our kids. The second thing is that it gives them just a time and space to really share and to really talk with their teacher. I will say the one tricky thing about this is when you do go to maybe like the table time, it's kind of remembering what kids wanted to tell me the story. I don't remember who raised their hand, right? So sometimes they would just ask, did you remember, did anybody need to take their story out of their pocket and share with me right now? And a lot of times they won't remember, and that's okay. But sometimes they have a new story that they want to tell you. But I think more than anything, it's really so validating to students to know, like, my teacher wants to talk to me and she cares about me and I matter, and what I think and how I feel and what I want to share is important to her. And that to me is the most important thing I could communicate to my kids, right? We want to show them they're loved, they're valued, their thoughts, opinions, and stories, they matter, and we want to hear them. And kids just love to talk to their teachers, right? It feels like you're one of their favorite people in the world. That's the best part about teaching. One of the best parts about teaching kindergarten is they just love you, right? They're just so sweet and loving. And so you just give them that time maybe that special one-on-one time that they need with you to just share a little quick story. You get to know them better. You can ask them questions, and it just helps to really build that student-teacher relationship that can really go a long way. More than anything, we just want to communicate to them that they matter, right? And that just really helps to build a thriving, positive classroom community that we all want. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. Interrupting is just gonna happen in kindergarten, right? It's something to be expected, and we just wanna have some tools with how to navigate and handle it. We talked about, just remember that we wanna be patient and teach self-control. We also want to remind students to raise their hands, right? Make sure that we're not reinforcing the blurting out and the interrupting. We also want to offer a space for them to share, right? So where they can share with a partner or where they can share with you. You can also do like a quick lesson on interrupting as well, whether you read like a story or kind of watch a little video and have kind of a group discussion on it. After this, be sure to check out my video on how to settle a really loud class and some fun little positive tips and tricks I have to really help manage and bring down that noise level. If you found this video helpful or useful, be sure to like and subscribe. All right, that's all for now, my friend. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, happy teaching.